Hello student. Today we'll study the important topic in biochemistry, particularly clinical biochemistry, that is diabetes mellitus. Students, up till now we have studied the endocrine pancreas, the pancreas secretion, that is insulin, which is a hormone secreted by beta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas. How the insulin it is synthesized, how it is stored in the beta cells, how it is released from the beta cells, and what is the action of insulin in other tissues like liver, muscle, or adipose tissue. So that complete information regarding this endocrine secretion we have seen. Now, what are the disorders of this? What is the disorders of the insulin deficiency of hypersecretion that we will study? That is a condition called as a diabetes mellitus. So, diabetes mellitus is a you can say the disorders, multi-metabolic disorders, in which there is a disordered group of metabolic, you can say disorders involved, related to carbohydrate metabolism, fat metabolism, and protein metabolism. Right? So, diabetes mellitus condition, it is different in human beings, then in monogastric animals like dogs and cat, and also in other species of animals like bovines and in sheep, goat. So this condition, disorders, is very common in case of human beings, isn't it? But and also nowadays it is reported the incidence is increasing in dogs and cat. But this condition, it is very uncommon or rare in case of ruminants particularly and other species of animals. The reason behind it may be because of their dietary habit, isn't it, or their metabolism. There is a carbohydrate metabolism is little different from the other the monogastric animals. But this condition, that is hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia particularly, it occurs in case of and results into ketosis, isn't it? Because of hypoglycemia there is a ketosis. So this ketosis may occurs in ruminants, or you can say it is a common condition. So it is related with the hypoglycemia in case of ruminants. So that detail we'll study here. What are the conditions which causes, what are the reasons, what are the for the diabetes mellitus in case of human beings and in dogs and cat. Then what are the tests which are required to detect this diabetes mellitus, and different types of tests involved. Then other condition, that also will study. So this topic involve, first is diabetes mellitus in general, in particular human beings and dogs and cats. Okay, in general we'll study what are the reasons, then what are the symptoms of the disease, and how to detect, or what are the different tests which are involved in this. Okay, next important test for detection, that is first blood sugar or ketone bodies. So that test will perform. What are the different tests which are required for the diagnosis of this condition, diabetes mellitus. Then other condition like you can say hyperinsulinism in dog. In dogs. So that is one condition which occurs in dogs. Then hypoglycemia in baby pig. pigs or piglets. That is also one of the topic we'll cover. Then ketosis or hypoglycemia in dairy cattle or dairy animals, and pregnancy toxemia in ewes, that is in female sheep or goat, ewes and does you can say. So these are the topic we'll cover in this. So what is diabetes mellitus? First we'll diabetes mellitus. So diabetes mellitus is a condition or metabolic disorders occurs because of the deficiency of insulin deficiency. Now there are different reasons for now this different types of diabetes mellitus. So different types, if you see in case of human beings, they are generally type 1 diabetes mellitus. Then now this type 1 diabetes mellitus is generally because of it occurs in a young age, and it is generally because of the complete destruction or complete absence of insulin, isn't it? While type 2 diabetes mellitus, there is a insulin is not insufficient insulin, the secretion is not sufficient, and it occurs at an older age, that is after 40 years of age. So this is a lack of insulin, insufficient insulin, you can say insufficient insulin hormone. So these are the major difference in the diabetes mellitus in case of human beings and in case of dogs and cats also. Okay. Now what are the or you can say type 1 diabetes mellitus also called as juvenile type of diabetes because it occurs in younger age, isn't it? Or type 2 diabetes mellitus, it occurs after in case of human beings after older age. Now in these two type what are the reasons for this? What are the reasons for these two type of diabetes mellitus? Now type 1 diabetes mellitus, it occurs because of one important factor, that is autoimmune disorders. Autoimmune disorders, that is beta cells, they are destroyed, they act as antigen. So antigen on beta cell attacked by our immune system. Okay, so that is because of that this beta cells, they are completely destroyed, and that results into type 1 type of diabetes mellitus. This type of diabetes mellitus also occurs in case of dogs. So autoimmune, the reason for the type diabetes mellitus in case of dogs, that is autoimmune type. So autoimmune is a reason. So autoimmune because of some viral type of infection, that is the reason for the autoimmune destruction of beta cells. Okay, so there is 80 to 90% destruction of beta cells or islets of Langerhans. Okay, so they are destroyed. So there is a as good as complete destruction of the beta cells. There is a complete absence of insulin in case of type 1 type of diabetes mellitus, and it commonly occurs in case of dogs. Now in case of dogs, particularly whatever the diabetes mellitus signs, symptoms, pathology, they are similar to that of human beings. Only thing there is that it is more type 1 type of diabetes mellitus. So in dogs there is a type 1 type of diabetes, type 1. Okay, so generally the population which is affected in case of dog, around, if you go through the literature, around 0.3 to 1.3% dogs, they are affected, or their incidence in case of diabetes mellitus. Okay, now second important, you can say, reason for this diabetes mellitus is a resistance to insulin. Okay, so suppose this is pancreas. So the secretion from the pancreas, that is insulin, is normal. Insulin is secreted normally, but on the cell or cellular level, isn't it? On the cellular level, there are receptors that we have studied the action of insulin. Right. So insulin forms the tyrosine kinase receptors or insulin receptors. The insulin which combine with these receptors and further cascade of reaction, that we have studied how the insulin act. So there is a defect in this. So the receptors, defect in the insulin receptors, and that is called as a resistance to insulin. Isn't it? So that is one of the reason for this is called as type 2 diabetes mellitus. Okay, so this is pancreas that we have studied in detail. Okay, so this is insulin receptors and insulin. So when there is a hormone and receptor complex which is formed, there is some defect in the action of insulin with the receptors, and that is called that is called as resistance, isn't it, to insulin. That may be one of the reason for the type 2 type of diabetes in case of dogs and in case of human beings particularly. Okay, now third important reason, isn't it, causes of the diabetes mellitus is a genetic. Because of the polymorphism in a gene, or because of that there is a structural defect in the insulin molecule, isn't it? And that may result into the insulin, even though it is secreted normally, such a insulin is a biologically active, you can say it is not biologically active, and that may result into hyperglycemia. Okay, then pancreatomy. If the pancreas is removed from the because of any, isn't it, you can say malignancy or tumor, any reasons because the pancreas is removed, that is also results into, you can say, the exogenous cause of diabetes mellitus. So then diseases of pancreas. Diseases of pancreas. So many diseases like infections, like viral infections, particularly viral. So viral infections, because of that there is a destruction of the beta cells, and this may leads to type 1 type of diabetes mellitus because of the autoimmune disorder. Okay, so this is also important reason for the diabetes mellitus to develop. Now other endocrine glands or endocrine disorders also related with the diabetes mellitus, isn't it? So other endocrine disorders, as you know, that the insulin is a hypoglycemic hormone. That means it brings down the blood sugar level, while all other endocrine secretion, right from the pituitary secretions like a growth hormone or a somatotropic hormone, we are saying, then thyroxine, thyroid hormones, then adrenal hormones, all these hormones, isn't it, adrenal steroids, they are all hyperglycemic. So if there is a hypersecretion of these hormones, may results into increase in the blood sugar level. Initially they stimulate the insulin level, but after consistent hyperglycemia, the beta cells exhausted, and that results into damage to the beta cells and develop the diabetes mellitus. So this is most important. Other endocrine disorders also, like acromegaly or hyperthyroidism. So these are also condition very important as far as the endocrine disorders are concerned for the or we can say the reasons for the diabetes mellitus. Then gestational diabetes mellitus, this is also common during the gestation period, the pregnancy. So it is called a gestational diabetes mellitus, and this is maybe a temporary rise in the blood sugar hyperglycemia. So this may occurs in case of dog. Human being, it is common, gestational diabetes mellitus. Then there is one type that is called as a MODY, M-O-D-Y. That is a maturity onset diabetes mellitus of youngs, isn't it? This condition is generally in human being, and this particularly condition or this in young human beings, young male or female, so develop this at younger age, that around 20, 25, and then it will the beta cell destruction as the age advances. This beta cell destruction takes place, and that results into diabetes mellitus. So this is a it is different from the type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. It is a totally different, that is a, you can say it is a different from type 1 type 2 diabetes, that is a MODY. Okay, that is maturity onset diabetes mellitus of young people. So this is these are the reasons for the diabetes mellitus in general. So diabetes mellitus is a group of metabolic disorders, isn't it? It occurs because of the deficiency or complete absence of insulin, isn't it? So they are classified as a type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. Type 1 diabetes mellitus, also known as juvenile type of diabetes, because it occurs in younger age, isn't it? And in type 1 diabetes mellitus, there is a complete absence of complete destruction of the beta cells, so there is complete absence of insulin, isn't it? So insulin levels, they are very low or they are absent. Insulin is absent in case of, while type 2 diabetes mellitus, it is particularly it is in human beings after 40 years of age, and it develops slowly, and the insulin is not sufficient, isn't it? The secretion or synthesis of insulin is not sufficient in case of this particular. So in case of dog and cat, particularly dog, type 1 diabetes is very common, and most important reason is autoimmune disorders. So autoimmune disorder is a common reason or cause of diabetes mellitus in case of dog. So in dogs, the particularly dogs from the 5 to 9 years of age, they are affected from this diabetes mellitus, and particularly some breeds, they are breed specific. There are some breeds, they are more affected or more susceptible to such a this particular condition. Okay, so this is about in general about diabetes mellitus. Now we'll study what are the clinical signs in case of how to diagnose this condition in case of human beings or monogastric animals and other animals also. So for diagnosis, what is required is the estimation of blood sugar level, or you can say the test for glucose. Now most important things here is that to find out the glucose level in blood. Okay, so there are various tests, they are available for estimation of blood sugar level. So you must have studied in your practical estimation of blood sugar by various methods. So in laboratory we have Falinu method, so Benedict's method, isn't it, for the estimation of blood sugar level. But nowadays there are various other methods which are easy or more accurate for estimation. They are the sample requirement is very less, and the kits which are available for this enzymatic methods are there which can be used for the estimation of this blood glucose. Okay, so for the measurement of blood sugar, isn't it, what is required is a blood plasma or serum. Generally plasma it is preferred over the serum for estimation of blood glucose. Now before going to this a test for glucose, so what are the clinical signs on that you can suspect the case in case of dogs or in cat for the diabetes mellitus. So clinical signs involve, so before this test we have a clinical signs. So you remember 3 P's, that is a polyphagia, polyuria and polydipsia. So these are the 3 important P's for the diagnosis of diabetes mellitus in case of dogs, isn't it? And weight loss. Okay, so you remember this, that is polyphagia, polyuria and polydipsia. These are the this what is that we have studied already. I told you about why there is a polyuria, why there is a polydipsia and why there is a polyphagia. Okay, so if this and weight loss, these are, if the clinical signs are there, you can go for the various test for the detection of sugar levels in the plasma. Okay, so while collection of blood, it should be the blood should be collected in the sodium fluoride, isn't it? Sodium fluoride is acts as an anticoagulant and also preservative at 10 milligram per ml of blood. That is a requirement, the concentration of sodium fluoride to prevent and coagulation and acts as a preservative. So sodium fluoride you can use for the for the collection and preservation of blood sample. Okay, so and for the diagnosis of this diabetes mellitus, you have to collect the sample, that is fasting blood sample, postprandial blood sample, and random sugar level. You can do it, but most important thing is that the fasting and postprandial blood sample, it is collected for the diagnosis. Okay, So plasma, generally blood plasma is preferred over serum. Okay, so while if to get the blood plasma requires anticoagulant, and sodium fluoride you can use as an anticoagulant, as also it preserve the blood, isn't it? Because if you are using the other anticoagulant, there are, because of the glycolysis continue, there is a reduction in the level of whatever the you are estimating the levels. So always you have to collect the serum sample or blood sample to get the plasma in sodium fluoride bulb. Okay, so what are the various methods by which you can estimation? So estimation of sugar by enzymatic method. So generally for the sugar there are various tests which are available. As I told you, quantitative estimations, we have Foligno methods, Benedict's methods, isn't it? But nowadays we have enzymatic methods which can be used, and you will get immediate results with these methods. So first is a glucose oxidase peroxidase. This enzymatic method is called the GOD-POD method. Okay, second method we are using is a hexokinase method. There is a hexokinase enzyme. Third is a glucose dehydrogenase. So GDH. So these are the three important methods you remember for estimation of sugar in the blood from the plasma. Okay, so it is in the syllabus, the detailed method should. So I'll tell you the how this glucose oxidase peroxidase work. Glucose oxidase peroxidase. So these are two enzymes, glucose, one is glucose oxidase and second glucose peroxidase. There are two enzymes are there. Sorry. Now here glucose is converted to gluconic acid plus H2O2. It is oxidized by glucose oxidase. Okay, first. Then whatever H2O2 it is formed, it is oxidized, certain dyes, isn't it? And it will give the color complex by the peroxidase. Okay, this is the general how this reaction takes place. So this color complex which is formed, which is measured with the help of spectrophotometer. So amount of glucose which is present can be estimated by indirectly measuring the whatever the hydrogen peroxide which is formed by the GOD, and then hydrogen peroxide is combined with oxidized certain dyes. Okay, and these dyes will give the color complex, and this color complex is measured spectrophotometrically. Okay, so this is, just remember this is very important, the principle how it works. Second is hexokinase method. Hexokinase hexokinase method. Now hexokinase, we have a this hexokinase catalyzes phosphorylation of glucose, as we have studied in case of glycolytic pathway also. Glucokinase or hexokinase, they phosphorylate the glucose. So glucose, when phosphorylated, that is ATP, it will give glucose 6-phosphate plus ADP. Okay, and this glucose 6-phosphate, when combined with NADP, or you can say oxidation reduction reaction, that is the enzyme is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. Enzyme glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. So that will give 6-phosphoglycerate plus NADH. Okay, so this is NADH and NADP. So, or you can say the NADPH. NADPH. What? So this NADPH, NADP and NADPH. So you can measure this NADP or NADPH. You can measure. This is reducing equivalent and spectrophotometrically. That is how much NADP is utilized or how much NADPH it is formed, isn't it? So on that basis you can indirectly measure the glucose concentration. Okay, now third important method. Okay, this is GOD, POD. Okay, then we have a hexokinase method. Second, third enzyme in the method is a glucose dehydrogenase. Glucose dehydrogenase or GDH. GDH. So glucose dehydrogenase. So glucose is oxidized in presence of NAD plus by glucose dehydrogenase enzyme, and it will give the gluconolactone plus NADH. Okay, so and you can have either NAD or NADH. You can measure NAD plus or NADH, same as that of the hexokinase. You can measure